Hi everyone, and welcome to the Kidsville Network Site Supervisor Training for 2023. The Summer Food Service Program was established by the USDA so that children in economically needy areas can continue to receive nutritious meals when school is not in session. You might be familiar with the National School Lunch Program, where children that are eligible can receive free or reduced lunches during the school year. This is the summer version of that, where organizations and other businesses take over food service so that children can continue to receive nutritious meals throughout the summer. All sites must be in eligible areas, and that is determined by census data and school district data. That data will say whether or not the site is in an economically needy area. All of our sites are open to all children because they are all in eligible areas. That means that children must be 18 or younger to participate in the food service program, and any child 18 or younger can participate, or persons with disabilities over 18 who are enrolled in school programs. In Pennsylvania, you have to be 21 or younger to be enrolled in school programs if you have a disability. So you're looking for children who are 18 or younger or persons with disabilities that are 21 or younger. With that being said, we are not collecting birth certificates. We're not asking for driver's license. Use your best judgment when it comes to serving children and persons with disabilities. This program is strictly for children 18 or under or persons with disabilities 21 or under, and we need to try our best to keep it to that. We need to try our best to only serve eligible participants. If somebody who is clearly not an eligible participant comes in and asks for food, if you have some leftovers or you're not gonna serve all of your meals today, please don't waste your food. If you feel comfortable giving that food out to that person who asks for food, go ahead and give it to them. We are a faith-based organization. We have a heart. We want to feed those who are hungry. Unfortunately, we can't make a habit out of feeding everybody because this program is for children and we only get reimbursed for meals that go to children. And we need to try to only give meals to children so that we get reimbursed so that we can continue to have this program. As a site supervisor, you'll have some responsibilities. You'll be overseeing meal service and maintaining organization at your site. You'll be serving eligible meals to eligible participants, which we just talked about. You'll be maintaining organization and accountability at your site, completing all of the required paperwork, complying with all regulations, including civil rights. You can report any problems to your sponsor, which is me, Liz, at Church Union, and complete your necessary training, which you're doing right now. You'll also understand the rules and regulations of the Summer Food Service Program and all of your expected duties that go on before, during, and after your meal service. Next, we'll be talking about meal pattern requirements of the Summer Food Service Program. All meals are made up of food components, and those are milk, fruits and vegetables, grains or breads, and meat or meat alternates. The four different meals that you can serve at your sites are breakfast, lunch or supper, and snack. You can serve any two of these meals with the exception of lunch and supper together. When you serve a breakfast, you'll be serving a vegetable or a fruit, a grain or a bread, and a milk. When you serve lunch or supper, you'll be serving a milk, 2 servings of fruits and or vegetables, 1 serving of grain or bread, and a serving of meat or a meat alternate. If you're serving snack, you'll be serving 2 food items from 2 of the 4 component groups. While it's great to know these things, our vendor is the one that is going to make sure that all of the food components are in your meals. But that being said, your food will get delivered before you actually serve it. So you need to make sure that you have all 5 components for lunch or supper, all 3 components for breakfast, or all 2 components for your snack. If you see that you are only serving the children 4 components, and you're serving lunch, you'll think to yourself, oh no, I'm missing that 5th component. Maybe you left the milk in the refrigerator and you're going to go get the milk out. It's very important that you serve all the components with the meals because all of these components together make up an eligible meal. And what that means is that for every meal that you hand out to a child, we'll get a small reimbursement for that. And that is what keeps this program going and what makes us able to do this program. So it's very important that you know the different food components and the different meal types and what components go with the meal types so that you make sure that you are serving eligible meals to eligible students. All of our sites must use congregate feeding to feed their children. That means that all children must eat all meals on site within sight of the site supervisor. You are the train site supervisor at your site, so you must oversee meal service and you must be on site so that you can see all of the children eating their meals. They are not allowed to take their meals off site and eat them. They're not allowed to just pick up a meal and take them home. Parents are not allowed to just come pick up a meal and take it back to their child. The children must eat on site. The only exception to this is the walking apple rule, where children can take one item from the fruit and vegetable or grain category off site to consume later. So if a kid is walking away with an apple or their bag of chips, it's not a big deal. You can go ahead and let them leave. However, most of the meal must be consumed on site. Again, we're not asking you to strap anybody down to a chair and make sure that they sit there and eat. Just make sure that your kids know that they do need to stay and eat, and if they continue to take a meal off site, then they won't be able to receive a meal. Field trips are another exception to this rule. Sites can take their food on a field trip, but that regular site must also remain open. What that means is that some of your site would have to, or some of your staff would have to stay behind at the site while the rest of your staff and the children go on the field trip. And all field trips must be approved at least 2 weeks prior to the trip day. That gives me time to update it in our system, in the state's application system, and also let our vendor know that you'll be needing a different type of lunch for that day. Next, we're going to talk about how to properly take the temperature of your food. The first thing that you're going to do is take your thermometer and wipe it with a probe wipe before placing it in the food. Make sure that your thermometer is set to on and degrees Fahrenheit. For the unitized or prepackaged meals, which is the cold food, you're going to place the probe between two packages. You'll kind of sandwich the probe between two of the trays. If that doesn't work, or if the thermometer is reading above 41 degrees Fahrenheit, you can pierce the plastic package and stab one of the pieces of food in there and get the temperature that way. For milk, you do the same thing. You place two cartons together and sandwich the probe in between. If that does not read 41 degrees Fahrenheit or below, you can open the carton and place the probe into the milk. Just remember that you can't serve that milk or that unitized package to participants. You can eat it yourself if you'd like. Shelf-stable items like bread, pita, potato chips, those do not need to be temped. They're fine on the shelf. They don't have to have a time or temperature control. All cold food that arrives must be temped and below 41 degrees Fahrenheit. It also must be stored at below 41 degrees Fahrenheit. So it needs to be stored in coolers or refrigerators. All cold food that needs to be heated, the hot food, must be heated to at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Fruit is a little bit trickier. So whole pieces of fruit don't need to be temped. They have skin on them. There's no bacteria growing inside of them. However, if it is sliced fruit, then it must be below 41 degrees Fahrenheit. Once a fruit is sliced, once the knife goes through it, that could be introducing bacteria into the fruit. And if it is kept above 41 degrees Fahrenheit, bacteria can rapidly spread, and that's where we get foodborne illnesses. So we want to make sure that sliced fruit is below 41 degrees Fahrenheit. Of course, there's an exception to this rule as well. Sometimes you'll get those shelf-stable fruit cups that do not need to have their temperature taken. They're shelf-stable, they don't need to be below 41 degrees Fahrenheit. You'll know it when you see it because they are those little fruit cups where the chunks of fruit are usually in water or juice, and they have a really tight seal on them so that bacteria can't get in. When you receive your meals for your summer food service program each day, the driver must give you a delivery sheet. If the driver does not have an extra copy and you don't have access to a copy machine, you can take a picture with your phone, but make sure the delivery driver knows that he or she must give you a copy in the future. A lot of the delivery drivers are new, they get a lot of summer hires, and sometimes they forget what they're supposed to do. So it's best if you know what they're supposed to do. They are supposed to give you a delivery sheet. On that delivery sheet, you're going to write the food temperatures. You're going to take the temperature of the cold food. It must be delivered and stored at a maximum of 41 degrees Fahrenheit. So when the truck arrives, they're going to give you the delivery sheet. You'll take a temperature of all the food items and you'll write down the temperature right on that delivery sheet. If the temperature is higher than 41 degrees Fahrenheit, the food needs to be refused and you'll need to tell the driver that he or she needs to call nutrition group and try to resolve the problem. There are protocols in place for that driver to go down to the local grocery store and pick up, if your milk is way out of temperature, they'll go grab you a gallon of milk. If your cut fruit is out of temperature, they'll go down to the store and get you a bag of apples or something to make up for the fruit. Because remember that all 5 meal components must be served with lunch or dinner, 3 with breakfast, and 2 with snack. If you do not serve all of the required meal components, it's not an eligible meal. So it's very important that the driver make sure that he corrects the issue. If the temperature is just a little bit high, you are able to just put it in the refrigerator or get it on ice and make sure that it's brought down to 41 degrees Fahrenheit before serving. After you check the food temperature, you're also going to check the quantity. You'll count each item to make sure that it matches the number on your delivery sheet. So if you got 20 unitized meals for the day, you should be receiving 20 of those unitized meals, 20 milks, and if there are any sides, 20 of the sides. If you're getting hot food, it's not quite as easy as just counting 20 meals. They might give you 1 tray of mashed potatoes for your 20 kids. If you have 100 kids and they give you 1 tray of mashed potatoes, that's probably not enough. So use your best judgment to make sure that the quantity, you have the correct quantity. Again, if your quantity is incorrect, if they don't give you enough of something, make sure that the delivery driver contacts Nutrition Group and fixes the issue. If the delivery driver leaves before the issue is corrected, there's not much we can do. And remember, if you don't serve all of the meal components at proper temperatures, then it's not an eligible meal and we will not receive reimbursement for it. Make sure that you're recording the time that it's delivered and the food temperature when it's delivered on the delivery sheet. This is an example of what the delivery sheet will look like. The green triangle, the green rectangle is highlighting the site that we're taking a look at, Sheldon Park Apartments. We see that they're getting 15 chocolate milks and 15 1% milks. And if we go over to the right, we'll see that they didn't get any frozen bulk lunches, but they did get 30 cold lunches. And they got 0 breakfasts and 0 snacks. So for the cold lunch, if you take a look up at the top of the sheet, it says that the cold lunch menu is the Italian hoagie with turkey ham, turkey salami, marinated green beans, pineapple, a dressing packet, and milk. So that is your whole meal. The site supervisor also took the temperature of the milk and took the temperature of the food, and she recorded that up at the top left of the sheet in that purple rectangle. We see that the delivery driver arrived at 10:20 a.m. So that's when she took the temperature at 10:20 a.m. and the milk was below 41 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's great, and the food was below 41 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's great as well. Once she's double checked the temperatures and the quantity and also the quality, we want to make sure that everything looks good. We don't have any mold issues or anything like that. Then she goes ahead and she initialed in this signature column. So this is a complete delivery slip. It's completely filled out, and this serves as proof that the meals were delivered at the proper time, at the proper temperature, and the proper quantity was delivered as well. Before you serve the meals, you need to make sure that all of the hot food is heated to a minimum of 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Cold food must be delivered and stored at or below 41 degrees Fahrenheit. And before serving, so directly before serving, the food temperature must be taken and recorded on the daily temp log, which you can see on the right-hand side of the screen. This is different than the delivery log. You need to take the temperature twice. When the food is delivered, you'll write the temperature on the delivery log. Right before serving, you'll write it on the daily temperature log. The only exception to this rule is if your food is delivered within the hour that it is supposed to be served. If your approved serving time is from 12 to 1 and your delivery arrives at 11:45, you do not need to take the temperature again. You don't have to fill out this daily temperature log. You'll just need to mark it on the delivery slip. It doesn't hurt to mark it twice, but I know sometimes it can get a little hectic if the delivery is a little late and you're trying to temp food, count food, get the food ready to serve, all in that hour. We're just going to go through a little example of the daily temperature log. So the first thing that we're going to do is write the site name and date. In this example, we have the bridge and the date is 6/10/23. I'm going to go through and list every food item that I need to take the temperature of. In this case, we have some chicken tenders. I heated them up and the temperature was 172 degrees Fahrenheit, and that was at 11:55 a.m., right before my approved serving time of 12 p.m. Next, we have the green beans, which I also heated up, and they were 174 degrees Fahrenheit, and this was also at 11:55 a.m. right before service. We also have sliced watermelon, which remember needs to be at 41 degrees or below. The temperature was 39 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's safe to serve. That was at 11:55 right before I start serving. We also have our milk, which was 39 degrees Fahrenheit, and that was at 11:55 a.m. We see that we only have 4 food components here, and we know that we need 5 for lunch or breakfast, but in this instance, chicken tenders, the breading actually counts as the grain. So sometimes you have combination foods where one item actually counts as 2 or 3 different components. So if you have pizza, you might have a meat and a vegetable and the grain all in one. So you'll only have pizza written down, but there's actually 3 components in there. In this case, the chicken tender has 2 components. I've double and triple checked everything. The temperatures look good. The time is good. I have written my site name and my date. So I'm going to go ahead and initial each item. And this is a fully completed daily temperature log. This and the delivery log will go in the green folder in the back of your binder every day. That is where you keep these papers. That is where we will find them when we come to pick them up. And just remember that it's your job to keep your site organized. So this is a part of your organization. We don't want to see these papers scattered throughout your binder. We want to make sure that all of the papers that you've filled out, you've signed, you've dated, you've put in that green folder in the back of your binder. Here is an example of what a daily temperature log will look like if you have the cold unitized meals. Put your site name and date. You can write unitized meal, but I would also like you to write what was in your unitized meal. In this instance, we had a chicken salad, apple slices, and carrot sticks. The temperature of this was 40.2 degrees Fahrenheit right before I started serving at noon, so at 11:55 a.m. We also had milk. That was 39 degrees Fahrenheit at 11:55. And we also had a muffin. Now remember, individual muffins that are individually packaged are shelf stable. They don't need to be temped, so I just wrote shelf stable in there. And that was at 11:55, which I forgot to put the time. But it doesn't really matter because you didn't have a temperature on it anyways. And after I double check everything, I'll just go through and add my initials to each food item. So this is another completed daily temp log, and this is what it will look like if you have those unitized meals. Just please make sure to write a description of what's in the unitized meals. Otherwise, if you forget to put your site name on or put a date on, I have to try to hunt down what day this might have been for. So please just put as much detail in this as you can. And again, this goes in the green folder in the back of your binder when it's completed. All right, so your meals have been delivered, your meals have been heated or stored in the refrigerator, and now it's time to actually serve the meals. You're going to complete the daily meal count form every day. That form, the example is on the right-hand side of the screen. That's what the daily meal count form looks like. This serves as proof of number of meals served. The meals must be counted and recorded as they are served to each child. Not when the child walks in the door, not after all meals have been eaten and all the children are gone, not 1 week later when your monitor comes to pick up your paperwork. They need to be counted and recorded as they are served to each child. You need to make sure every form is accurate, complete, signed, and dated. This is a very important document. This is the proof to the government that you served the amount of meals that you say you served. While you're serving, please make sure that you have a pleasant attitude towards your food. Make sure that you're smiling and just excited to be serving these healthy meals to them. If you have a negative attitude towards the food, so will your kiddos. If you're making faces and saying, "Ew, this looks gross, I wouldn't eat it," so will the kiddos. Remember, these are nutritious meals. They're healthy meals that will help their little bodies grow. While you're serving meals, you also must provide reasonable modifications to accommodate persons with physical or mental impairment. For example, if your site has stairs, you must find a way to still serve any child who cannot use those chairs. So if you have a kiddo in a wheelchair that can't make it to your site because of your stairs, you need to make sure that you're taking a meal out to that child so that they have a meal. Another example of this are allergies. We do need to accommodate allergies if we have a doctor's note. If they do not bring you a doctor's note, you are not required to provide an accommodation. If you do end up with a doctor's note, please let me know because we can let our vendor know and we can get you an alternate meal or a different type of milk if that's the allergy. Now, if you happen to have some leftovers on hand, say you had a bag of apples from the other day that you didn't use, and today you're serving bananas, and a child tells you that they're allergic to bananas. They don't have a doctor's note, but they're allergic to bananas, and you believe them. It's fine if you take an apple from the other day and substitute it for that banana. As long as you are still serving the 5 required components in lunch or dinner, it is fine to make substitutions if you can without a doctor's note. You should be cautious about this because it might so happen that suddenly everybody is allergic to bananas because they all want apples instead. So allergies can turn into something that they don't like very quickly. So just use your best judgment as with everything in this program and provide reasonable modifications where you can. And if you need help with something, just let me know. Next, we'll look at an example of the daily meal count sheet. On the very first line, it says new meals received. So those are the meals that you received for service that day. Today we received 20 meals for our site, so I put 20 in line 1. It's 12 o'clock and it's time to start meal service. Remember, you can only serve during your approved time. My approved time is 12 to 1, so I will only serve meals from 12 to 1. Anything served outside of those times do not count as eligible meals. So it's 12 o'clock, the first child comes in and takes a meal, so I cross off the 1. A couple minutes later, 5 children walk through the door. But I'm not going to cross off 5 children because only 3 children took a meal. So now I'm going to cross off 3 since they have taken a meal. 2 more children come and take a meal. 1 more child comes and takes a meal. A couple children walk through the door, but only one take a meal. And we are at 1 o'clock. It's the end of our service time. I can't serve any more meals. So what I'm going to do is just transfer the number of checks over to line 2. This is first meal served, the number of meals that you gave out to children. First meals that you gave out to children. So that was 8. I put the 8 down in line 2. Second meal served, in my case, was 0. If you do have some leftover, your service time is from 12:30 or 12 o'clock to 1, it's 12:45, and you have a ton of meals left over, you can feel free to offer second meals to the children. Remember to serve them on a first come, first serve basis. If you do have children that take seconds, just cross off the numbers as they take them and then write it in line 3. Program adult meals served is any adult that helps with the program. So in my case, we had 3 program adult meals served. So I wrote a 3. I should have crossed off 1, 2, and 3, but I forgot. I bet you won't forget. So make sure you cross off those numbers and then write it on line 4. We did not have any non-program adult meals. Non-program adults are adults that do not help out with the program. So we really, really want to limit serving them. In this case, we didn't serve any. Next, we're going to take the total of all of the meals that we served. It was 11. I did not serve any leftover meals. So I had a couple meals in the refrigerator from yesterday, but I got 20 meals. I received 20 meals today. I only had 8 kids, so there was no need for me to bring out the leftovers from yesterday. I did not serve any of our shelf-stable meals and I did not save any leftover meals. Instead, I donated all 9 of my leftover meals to the high-rise down the road. If you do have refrigeration at your site, you are more than welcome to save your meals for the next couple of days. There is a best by date on each meal. It's typically 2 to 3 days after you receive it. So just make sure that you're taking a look at that best by date and throwing away or donating any meals before they get to that date. Let's take a look at this bottom line, number of additional children requesting a meal after all available meals were served. So if your service time is from 12 to 1 and you run out of all 20 of your meals at 12:30, you are still required to remain open until 1 o'clock and counts the number of children requesting a meal that did not get a meal. That tells me that I need to order you more meals. So make sure that you're staying open for your entire time, even if all of your meals are gone, and crossing off the number of kids who asked for meals that did not receive a meal. All right, so I went through and I double checked my meal count sheet. All of my numbers are correct. All of my numbers add up. Everything makes sense. So next, I'm going to sign and date it. This signature is very important. If you do not have a signature on this meal count, it doesn't count. We cannot count any of these meals as eligible meals. We will not get reimbursed for any of them. So please make sure that you are signing and dating everything. That is our meal count sheet. If you have any leftovers, there are a couple things you can do with them. You can have a share table where children can place unopened, unwanted items on that designated share table. Things like whole pieces of fruit, individually packaged chips or applesauce or raisins, those can all go on a share table if you are able to maintain that share table. It needs to be watched. We can't just have children throwing, open bags of chips or a chicken finger on there. Also, any milk that is placed on the food table needs to go back in the refrigerator. And any whole pieces of fruit where you eat the skin, like an apple or a pear or a plum, those would all need to be washed before another child can take them. You can also serve complete meals the next day or the next couple of days if the site has refrigeration. So remember, you have to serve all of the meal components that go with that meal. If you ran out of milk and you only have 4 of the 5 components for lunch, that is not a complete meal. Doesn't mean that you can't serve it. It just means that you can't count it on your meal count sheet. You can also donate the food to local food banks, charitable organizations, homeless shelters, food pantries. We have a lot of senior high-rises in our areas that also really ordering meals. You will not be communicating directly with Nutrition Group to order your meals. You'll communicate with me every day so that we are ordering the proper amount of meals for you. Your main objective when planning for number of meals is to provide one per child. We don't order based off the number of program adults that you served or non-program adults or seconds that you served to children. We only order based off of the first meal served. That minimizes our food waste and it also minimizes our costs. So please text me with your meal numbers and any delivery problems that you might have had at the end of every at the end of every meal service, and my number is right on the screen. So in case you don't have it, but most of you already have it. Please let me know of any special days as soon as possible. Special days are things like community days or field trips. For community days, if you know that there's a big festival in your community and it's only 1 block down, you're probably not going to get any kids for lunch that day. So we might limit your number, take down the number of meals that you're going to get. We might just close your site for that day. Or maybe you're having a really big VBS in your area or at your church, and you know you're going to get triple the amount of meals that you or kids that you need, so you'll need triple the amount of meals. Please let me know about any special days like that as soon as possible so we can plan accordingly. Sponsor monitors are people that come out and check on you at your sites. They're the ears and eyes for the sponsor, and they are your friends. They'll visit weekly to take your meal count forms or maybe bi-weekly. So make sure that all those forms are completed and in the green folder in the back of your binder so that they can easily go through them, make any corrections, and they're not looking for all the different pieces of paper. They're trained in meal patterns, food safety, verifying your meal orders, and your meal count forms. So they know what they're looking for. Just make sure that it's all in that green folder. They're also going to conduct a couple different reviews from you just to make sure that your site is operating smoothly, everything's being done, you're following all the rules and regulations. And they're also going to do a review that if the Department of Education were to send out a monitor from the state, and they can at any time, to check on you, they're going to do that review with you first. So we'll have our monitors there to walk you through that review and get you all practice just in case somebody from the state does come to check on your site. They're also not there, they're not there to get you, they're not there to catch you doing anything wrong. They just want to make sure that you are following the rules and regulations, that you're serving safe meals to kids. You can always tell your monitor if you need any supplies or anything. If you're having any issues or any questions, feel free to talk to your monitor about it, or you can also always call me. Food safety is extremely important when serving food to children. Make sure that you're washing your hands for at least 20 seconds before every task. In case you forgot, the first step in washing your hands is wetting your hands. Next, you need to soap your hands. Make sure that you're getting the fronts and the backs, in between your fingers, under your fingernails, in your nail beds. Those are all places where germs like to hide. Wash for at least 20 seconds, then you'll rinse. You'll use a paper towel to dry your hands. Use that paper towel to turn off the faucet, and also use that paper towel to open the door if you have a knob, or you don't have one of those one of those attachments where you use your foot to open the door. So just make sure you're not touching the dirty doorknob right after you wash your fresh, clean hands. Make sure that you're wearing your gloves and you're changing them before every task. Please wash your hands and change your gloves often during food service. That is the best way to prevent foodborne illnesses, along with making sure that the food is at a safe temperature. Make sure that you're checking your food temperatures both when the food is received and before the food is served. When it is received, it goes on the delivery log. When it's served, it goes on the daily temperature log. If your site is serving hot food, it will arrive cold, so it must be at 41 degrees Fahrenheit when it's delivered, and you have to heat it to at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit right before serving it. Your cold food must be delivered and stored and then served at a maximum of 41 degrees Fahrenheit. So make sure that you're storing it in a refrigerator or in coolers to keep it at the right temperature. Wipe down your tables with sanitizing solution both before and after meal service. And if you have any dishes, if you're serving hot food, you'll have serving utensils. Make sure that you wash them in hot water with dish soap. Rinse in hot, clean water. Sanitize them, and you'll prepare your sanitizing solution according to the instructions on the container, and then you air dry them on a clean surface. You must do that wash, rinse, sanitize, air dry if you are using serving utensils. If you're receiving hot food in pans, you do not need to wash, rinse, sanitize the pans. Those pans will just go right back to nutrition group. The only thing that you have to worry about is wash, rinse, sanitizing your serving utensils. Spreading the word about your summer food service program site is very important. If you don't tell anybody about your site, then nobody's going to know anything about your site. So make sure that you are using social media, passing out flyers, telling local churches about your program, asking local businesses to post flyers, anything that you can do to get the word out about your site. We also know that programming really helps boost participation at our open summer food service sites. So do what you're able to do to provide programming if you can. If you need any help with that, I can provide supplies like crayons, markers, paper, craft supplies so that they have something to do while they're at your site. Maybe you can partner with local churches to offer a VBS, anything fun and exciting to get the kids out to eat healthy meals. If you need flyers or other promotional items, the Greater Pittsburgh Area Food Bank can help you. To request those promo items, you can fill out the form and the link is on your screen. If for some reason they're unable to help you with your promo items, you can always call me and I can also help you to get some. Some sites will be receiving shelf-stable meals. These are fully reimbursable meals that do not need to be kept cold or hot. They include milk, chips, a meat stick, salsa, cheese, and a fruit cup, I believe. These are only to be used if delivery is later than when the meal service is scheduled to begin, or if you run out of meals during your approved meal service time. If you use any, please write the amount used on the daily meal count sheet. These are fully reimbursable eligible meals. They contain all of your 5 meal components for your lunch or dinner. And they count as a first meal served, just like a meal that would have been delivered that day. And again, they're only for emergencies, only if you run out of meals during your service time, or if your delivery truck, breaks down on the highway and they're going to be a half an hour late, you need to start serving at your approved service time, you can break out your shelf-stable meals. As the site supervisor, you'll be in charge of maintaining your binder and keeping it nice and organized. In there, you'll find a site supervisor guide that was written by the USDA, and it has all kinds of information in there about being a site supervisor. So if you have any general questions, you can take a look at that. There's also a PowerPoint about civil rights and also the USDA program discrimination complaint form, which we'll talk more about in a little bit. You've got all of your daily meal count forms in there, along with your daily temperature logs. You also have an "And Justice for All" sign, which shows that there's no discrimination at our sites. We follow all civil rights laws, and that sign needs to be posted during every meal service where children and families can see it. We also have a photo release sign in there that we would like you to post. It just says that if you're in this space, you might get your picture taken. We don't sell those images. We use them for usually for our donors who donate to our programs. They like to see what's going on in our programs. We also will use it for brochures or marketing flyers, but we don't sell them for money. We don't get any royalties from them. And there's also your green folder for all of your completed forms. So please take care of your binder and make sure that it's nice and organized. And every day you're putting the daily meal count sheet, the daily temperature log, and the delivery slip in the green binder in the back of your folder. Next, we're going to talk about civil rights. All kids and families that receive meals must be treated equally regardless of sex, race, color, national origin, age, religion, or disability status. Meals must be distributed on a first come, first served basis. You can't serve the boys first, or the girls first, or the oldest first, or the youngest first. It is a first come, first served basis. Make sure that your "And Justice for All" poster is hanging in a spot visible to children and families that are picking up meals. That's that green piece of paper that is in the front pocket of your binder. And if anybody wants to make a civil rights complaint about you and you cannot resolve the matter, give them a copy of the USDA Program Discrimination Complaint Form that you can find in your binder and notify Church Union. It is the person filing complaint, it's their responsibility to actually file the complaint. So all you do is give them that piece of paper, they will fill it out, send it in to the right people, and you'll let us know that you had to give one out so that we can be ready because they'll contact us. So please just make sure that we're not discriminating against anybody purposefully or accidentally. All right, we're almost through with our training. We're just going to wrap up with a couple other items. Make sure that you're placing all of your paperwork, which is the daily meal count sheet, the daily temp log, and the delivery slip, sorted by day in the back of your binder in the green folder. Once delivery times are assigned, I will let you know. We are not able to change them. It comes from Nutrition Group and they have hundreds of stops and they make their own routes, so I will let you know once we get them. You and anybody who volunteers with your kids must have their clearances on file with United Methodist Church Union. We need the child abuse history clearance, the PA State Police request for criminal records check, and the FBI fingerprints. Please get those to me if you have them updated or if you need them, let me know and I can help you get those. If there is a problem with the food and your delivery driver cannot resolve the problem, serve the food that is able to be served and make sure that you document the issue on the daily meal count sheet and notify Liz. And as always, please make sure that you are taking a picture of the daily meal count sheet and texting that to me every day immediately after meal service so I can go ahead and plan for the rest of the week. All right. To wrap up your training, you'll need to take the quiz. Please go to the link that is on the screen and complete the quiz. You must get at least 19 out of 24 of those questions correct in order to start serving at your site. If you have any questions, you can always email me at emartinez@churchunion.org. Have a great summer, and I'm sure I will be talking to you soon.